is exactly like the test, except for I changed digits of the problems. I left 10 to the third and 10 to the second alone, and I also kept all of the words the same, okay? So the numbers are different, but that's it. So let's talk about, let's talk about this first one. The following equations involve different quantities and use different operations, yet produce the same result. So yours is in a better place than mine, but you see how we have the same answer twice? Okay? But on the first one we multiplied by 10 to the third, and on the second one we divided by 10 to the second, and we got the same answer. So it says to use a place value chart in words to explain why this is true. Okay? So I want to start by putting 3.17 on your place value chart. So get your decimals on your place value chart. 1, 2, 3 decimal. Okay? And put 3.17 on there. And then we're going to take it times 10 to the third power. 10 to the third power means how many place values do I move? What?
2.
Really? 10 to the third?
Oh, no, 3.
Oh, good. So times 10 to the third here. And then I'll move the 3 over to the thousandths place, right? What do I fill in with?
0.
0. Okay. This is like lesson 1, 2, and 3 all combined. Okay? Now it says to use words to explain what happened. Well, my number got larger, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And my digits moved which way? Left. The decimal trick says to move the decimal to the right, but we're on the place value chart. So what if I say this? When I multiply, my numbers get larger, my number gets larger, and my digits move to the left. Make sense? Now give me a 5th grade way to say number gets larger. Number, you're close, starts with IN. Increases, okay? So when I multiply, the number increases and the digits move to the left. Let's write that down. Okay, so up here, look up here when you get that much done, okay? So I know you're ready. How is dividing different than multiplying?
Dividing.
You move to the right and then you
The
move to the
dividing increases.
Decreases.
Yeah, decreases, and then the multiplication increases.
And it goes to the right. So could I replace multiply with divide,
Yep.
increases with decreases, and left with right?
Yes.
Okay, what does that look like with my digits though? I've got to start with 317,000. Get your decimals on there. Good. And I think I gave you exactly the right amount of boxes, okay? So when I divide by 10 to the second, let's go ahead and start with the 0. How many places will it go over?
2.
2, okay? So divide by 10 to the second power. Got 0, 0, 0. Did I get the same answer?
Yeah.
What sentence are you going to write?
When I divide,
The number decreases and the digits move to the left. Okay,
Right.
I'm going to pause it, right. I'm going to pause it while you write that down, okay? Okay, let's take a look at number 2. So this says, use an area model. Now you remember an area, when you're figuring out area, you do length times width?
Yeah.
Okay, so this area model is similar to that. The only difference is we're going to add up at the bottom. Something plus something equals something. Guess I better change back to the right color. And I'm going to put 4 on the side. And then I've got 2 boxes. The first one has 5 ones. The number's 5.3. And then 3 tenths. Okay. So on this one, we're going to multiply, sort of like length times width. But you have to write your place value. So 5 times 4 is 20. What's the place value? Ones. And 4 times 3 is 10. 12, but what's the place value? 12 tenths. How do I write 12 tenths in standard?
1.22. Wait, no, 1 and 2 tenths.
1.2. So let's write 12 tenths here. And then 1.2. Remember, the last digit you write goes in the place value that's mentioned. Most of the time on this question, the kids write 12 here, and then they end up writing 32 for their answer. And then they miss the next 3, standard form, word form, expanded form. So we'll use a place value chart to add these 2 numbers, okay? So go ahead and take your place value chart. And we're going to add 21s and 12 tenths. And if you want to fill in with a 0 there, you can, but you don't have to. And that is not 32, is it? It's 21.2. Did you get the same thing when you added it? Okay. So on the line for the answer, you'll write 21.2. And look at this. You know how I like arrows.
Yeah.
Standard form just means rewrite that. Now, who can tell me the easiest way to figure out word form? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's like my mouth is moving.
Like you're saying it?
I'm going to say it. Very good. Okay? So when I say this number, I don't say 21.2, do I?
No.
What do I say? 21
And
2 tenths.
Good. That's what you write. 21 and 2 tenths. Make sure you have all words. Okay, let's take a look at the place value chart. I want to remind you how I taught you to do expanded form. Okay? So the number we're looking at is 21.2, correct? Okay. So 21.2 is what I'm looking at. I'm just going to write it here. And then it will be 2 copies of 10. 1 copy of 1 and 2 copies of 1/10 or 1/10 as a decimal. Okay? So the assessment review right here, when I do 2 copies of 10, it needs to go in parentheses. You remember this? Okay. Plus 1 copy of 1 plus 2 copies of 1/10 or 1/10 as a decimal. You don't need them both. Okay? So how are we doing?
Good.
Hardest thing on this one, I think, is adding it up or maybe setting it up. Rest of it's pretty simple. Someone in block 2 asked me, are you going to count off if I don't put my dash? Probably not. Okay? But I want word form. I don't want unit form. Word form, say it. Maybe even say it out loud. Okay? All right. So let's look at page 2. Page 2, it's going to take us a while to get through, but I just want you to feel confident. So this is going to require quite a bit of the place value chart. Quite a bit of it. But it's not as hard as it looks. Okay? So I put some lines on here that weren't on the test before, kind of to help you remember that we need to write these in standard form before we can do anything else. They're not listed in standard form, are they? They're listed in unit form. How do you write 4/10 as a decimal? Okay, that's what your first line is for. And then I'm going to write 13/100ths as a decimal.
0.03.
That is the problem I put on the place value chart. So place value chart. I've got 4/10 plus 13/100ths, and I want everyone to do this. It's a test, and we want to get them right, don't we? Okay. So when you add that up, what do you get?
5,300.
5,300ths, okay? What number? That's the answer for this right here, okay? I'm going to compare 5,300ths with 3,500ths. Now this is the old way of doing it. We say, are they the same? Are they the same? Which one's larger?
5.
Okay? So I'm just reminding you how we did this when we first started. All right? Okay, the next one. We have to change from unit form to standard form again. 12/10, how do I write that in? 1.2. That's where you've got a lot of these where they say tenths and it's actually a whole number, decimal, tenths place. Okay? 7/10 and 4,300ths. Where's the safest place to add these up? Place value chart. Now go back to your review. And what was the answer to this problem?
2 and 3,300.
Oh, they're equal. Now, I don't know, I don't think you can just memorize when you study. I don't think you can just memorize what to put in a circle. You actually have to work it out, okay? 2 of these I didn't change from the test at all. They're the exact same way they were on the test. Okay, so 342 hundredths. So the two's in the hundredths place. So 3.42, right? Plus 7 tenths, and it looks like I have a typo there. That should be tenths, not tenth. And by the way, this was supposed to be a plus sign, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Might as well just point out all my mistakes right now. So now let's add this up. You want to add this right here on the paper?
No.
You want to be safe.
You want to be safe. Okay.
I want to be safe.
Because it's a test, we're going to do it on the place value chart. So remind me what the first one was, because I don't remember.
3.42.
3.42. That's 342 hundredths.
And 0.
And 7 tenths. So what's the answer?
4 and 12 hundredths.
4 and 12 hundredths. So I'm going to put 4 and 12 hundredths there. Now I've got 3 plus 49 hundredths. What's the answer to that? 3 and 49 hundredths. Okay. Now, do you remember, I know I said this more than once, sometimes you can just look at your whole numbers here.
Yeah.
So which whole number is larger, 4 or 3?
4.
4. The rest of it doesn't really matter. Okay? All right, let's take a look at this one. Now, if you add 3 plus 24, you're going to be in big trouble because this is actually expanded form. So it's actually, don't write this, 3 times 1 plus 24 times 1/10. Okay? That's what it actually is. I'm going to erase that because we can remember this. So 3 plus. How do I write 24 times 1/10? 24 tenths. 24 tenths. How do I write that?
2.4.
2.4. Okay. Plus 16 copies of 100th. How do I say that? Yeah, 16 hundredths. If you're not writing this down, I'm trying to figure out why. So we've got to get an answer for this. This is confusing. That's a lot of zeros to write. I don't think I need to write them all, do I? Can't I just bring my 6 down?
Yeah.
4 plus 1. 3 plus 2. Is that what you got?
6 hundredths.
5 and 56 hundredths. Can I just look at the whole numbers again?
Yes.
The 3 and 5, which one's larger? 5. Okay. Now this is the same. Don't add 14 plus 72. Okay? 72 copies of 1/10 would be 72 tenths. So we're going to add 14 plus 72 tenths. How do I write that?
7.2.
7.2 plus
4,000.
4 copies of 1,000. If you're just copying this down and not thinking, this really isn't doing you much good. Place value chart again? Okay. Look where you wrote 14. You wrote 14 tenths by accident. There you go. Good. That's also a lot of zeros, and I think I could probably just bring my 4 down, bring my 0 down, my 2, 4 plus 7,
11.
regroup the 1. Okay, so what is our answer?
21
And
204,000.
Good. So 21 and 204 thousandths. I'm going to put it right here. Now they're trying to trick you. They're trying to get you to choose the number that's longer and not compare place values. So are the 2's the same?
Yes.
In fact, I'm going to write this right underneath there. Okay. Are the 1's the same?
Yes.
2's? What about here?
No.
Which one's larger? Okay. So that means the shorter number is actually larger. Okay? Last one. This is fun. So they're combining the decimal hop with expanded form and comparing decimal numbers. So like 3 things. Okay? So down here, all I want you to do is write 5/10. And we're going to hop the decimal. And we're going to take it times 10 to the second power. So how many hops is that?
2.
1, 2. So what is that? 50 plus, then write 6/1000. Take it times 10 to the third power. What number's that?
6.
What?
6.
6. 50 plus 6 equals 56. Quite simple, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Do the same thing again. So 5/10 times 10.
50.
Are you sure?
5 now.
5. There's no 10 to the second on that one.
Oh.
It's just 5/10 times 10. And then 6/10
60.
times 10 to the second power. Thanks for letting us figure that out ourselves. So what do we have there?
65.
65. Which one's larger?
65.
65. Okay. Okay, page 3. Now I'm going to read this, but I'm kind of going to paraphrase it a little bit. That means I'm just going to tell you the gist of it. You ever heard of that word before?
Yes.
I know you have. So Dr. Mann mixed chemical A, chemical B, and chemical C to make 5 doses of medicine. So, like mad scientists poured it in, okay? So here's what I need you to remember out of this. In fact, 5 doses is going to help us on C. Okay? All right, so this is the question. Right beside the A it says, about how much medicine did he make in grams? What does about mean?
Almost.
Almost. What do I need to do as a 5th grader? Just guess?
Multiply.
No? Round. Who said round?
Oh.
Good. So, about means to round and then add or multiply or whatever, okay? So about how much medicine did he make in grams? Estimate the amount of each chemical by rounding to the nearest tenth of a gram before finding the sum. So Jair, are we going to multiply?
Yeah. No, add.
Okay, how do you know it's add? You're right.
It's,
What's the word sum mean?
the answer of the,
Addition problem.
Yeah, addition
Okay. So chemical A, we're going to write it, then we're going to round it. So see how I wrote that rounding sign underneath the A? Okay. Make it big enough so you can see it. It's the first number. These are not in a different order. And we're going to practice my rap, at least parts of it. Okay. So what place value are we identifying here? 10th. Okay. So find the 10th place and circle that digit. Move to the right and underline. Get it? Okay. Now this is where we have a decision to make. 0 to 4, the 2 stays the same. 5 to 9, add 1 is the game. So does my 2 stay the same or do I add 1?
Add
1.
So the 2 becomes a 3. Now flex your muscles like a hero.
Oh yeah.
Digits to the right change to 0. All the other digits stay the same. Yo, you're a winner in the rounding game.
Yo.
Okay, now what can I get rid of here?
The zeros.
Yep, in fact, I'm going to erase them. I don't need those zeros. So, chemical A rounds to 13.3. Okay? Now we'll do the same thing with B. So write B, put the rounding sign under it. It's the second number. Okay, so what place value are we rounding to?
The
The tenths. So find the tenths place and circle that digit. Move to the right and underline. Get it? Okay. 0 to 4. The 0 stays the same. 5 to 9. Add 1 is the game.
So add 1.
Add 1. So add 1 to 0. Whoops. 1.
Yo.
Now flex your muscles like a hero.
Oh yeah.
Digits to the right, change to 0. Do I need those?
No.
Okay.
But the other one.
All the other digits stay the same. Yo,
Yo, you're the game.
you need to be focusing.
Boom.
Okay? Abdiel, thank you for the sound effects. They're going to be on the recording.
Oh no.
Okay. Chemical C. .602. I gotta move that over. Need to leave room to add over to the side. Okay? All right, so find the place value and circle that digit. Move to the right and underline. Get it? So, circle a 6, underline a 2. 0 to 4, 6 stays the same. Do I need to go any further?
No.
Now flex your muscles like a hero.
Oh yeah.
Digits to the right, change to 0. But we don't need them because it's decimal place value. All the other digits stay the same. Yo, you're a hero? I like that. Okay, so now to find the sum. Write this down in the exact order that I am. What did I put on there after my first number?
Plus.
An addition sign?
Yeah.
Decimals, yes. Now, if you prefer, by the way, make sure you're writing these estimates in your problem. If you prefer to do that on the place value chart, go right ahead. Okay, so what's our estimate?
27.
So Dr. Mann mixed about 27 grams.
Of
Okay.
sugar.
In fact, we don't need that 0 on there, do we?
No.
Okay, so if I were to write a sentence, which I'm not going to take time for now, but I would write Dr. Mann mixed about 27 grams of medicine. Okay, now the next one says to find the actual amount. So when I find the actual amount, I've got to use the numbers from my problem, not the ones I rounded.
So you have to.
So I'm going to take these 3 numbers and add them together. Wait, let me read the rest of the problem. Then it says, what is the difference between your estimate and the actual? What does difference tell me to do?
The subtraction.
Subtraction. So once I get the actual amount added together, I will subtract to find the difference.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and write those. Can you add 3 numbers?
Yeah.
Okay. Think so? We're about to find out.
Oh my gosh.
Now, the number one mistake children make here is they just don't copy the numbers down correctly. And that's simple. Just double check it. So when I add those up, don't forget you're lining up decimals. Okay? They're trying to get you to put the 3 in the wrong place value. So add it up and see what you get. Okay, so you have an actual amount that he mixed, you have an estimate that we came up with, and you have to find the difference. Okay? So which number goes on top? The big dog?
27.
27. It's larger. It has to go on top. You can't subtract from a smaller number unless you know negative numbers, and we don't practice those yet. Okay? So 27 has to be on top of the subtraction problem. Now, see what I'm doing here? Why am I doing that?
So you won't get mixed up.
Well, tell me, what would mix me up?
The decimals.
Yes, the decimal place values. Okay, so since it's subtraction, do I need to fill in with zeros?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
I have to.
You have to, like, you know, unbundle.
Okay, so this is in 3rd grade. Remember, I told the kids more on the floor, go next door.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep going all the way to the 7. That becomes a 10.
Then that becomes a 9.
That becomes a 9. This becomes a 10,
Dang.
a 9, and finally a 10. Now you can subtract. So what is the difference between our actual amount and the estimate?
There's 85,000
85,000. Okay.
grams.
Grams. Of a gram. So it's less than 1 gram. We were pretty close on our estimates, weren't we?
Yes.
Okay, so let's take a look at number 3. Okay, the last 2 you'll probably really enjoy. So it says, how many grams are in 1 dose of medicine? And explain your strategy for solving this problem. We'll get to that in a minute. So we have 5 doses. Where do I put the 5 doses?
In the box.
The boxes. So I'm going to need 5 boxes. And the question says, how many grams are in 1 dose of medicine? Now, we have to decide what goes on top. Do I put 27 there? Do I put 85 thousandths? Or do I put 26 and 100 and 915 thousandths?
85,000.
Good try. That's wrong.
27.
3rd time's a charm.
26. Point.
I have to put my total. Now, if I'm going to divide it out, take the time to divide it out, I don't want to divide my estimate, do I? I want the total. So the actual total. So how do I solve this?
You divide,
Long division.
Lexi, please let Lexi talk.
you divide 26.915 divided by 5.
Good.
One.
So 26 and 915 thousandths divided by 5. What will I skip count by?
5.
5. It's my divisor. So pop the decimal up. Skip counting by what?
5.
Okay, go ahead.
I went to fish. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, the first question I need to ask myself, can I make 5 groups out of 2?
No, yes.
I cannot. So that means I have to look at
So 26.
26 ones.
Yes.
Okay? So, Jair, 26, what number's closest without
25.
going past? So circle 25. How many will be in each group?
5.
Where do I write the 5?
Above the 6. And then,
Subtract 2.
yeah. 1, then put
So
down-
is 1 less than my divisor of 5?
Yes.
Okay, let me ask these questions. So bring down the,
9.
okay, so that's 19.
19.
I can't pick 20 because it's too big.
15.
15.
And then put
How many will be in each group?
3. Subtract 15.
Okay, but let me ask the questions. You guys are so smart. So is 4 less than my divisor of 5?
Yes.
Bring down the 1.
It would be 35.
I think it would be 40.
Oh, yeah.
25's too large.
So how many in each group?
8.
What number do I subtract?
40.
Can I bring down the 5?
Yes.
How do you know?
Because it's 6. It's smaller than your divider.
Because 1 is smaller than my divisor.
Oh.
And we've already used 15, so I'm going to circle it again.
3.
3 in each group.
Subtract 15.
0.
0.
Okay,
5 and...
so we have an answer.
Yeah.
What was our strategy for solving it?
Long division.
We used long division to find that one dose contains 5 and 383 thousandths.
Yes.
Okay? All right. So now it says round the weight of one dose to the nearest gram. So we will write our answer. 5 and 383 thousandths rounded to the nearest gram. Now I'm pointing to the place value chart. You can't see that on the video, can you?
No.
What place value is gram in?
1.
So I think we better write that ones place here. Okay. So now I'm going to find the ones place.
3.
Find the ones place and circle that digit. Move to the right and underline. Get it?
Get it.
Okay, 0 to 4. The 5 stays the same. 5 to 9. Add 1 is the game. So does the 5 stay the same or
Yeah.
Yes.
Now flex your muscles like a hero.
Boom.
Digits to the right, change.
to 0.
What's my answer?
5.
5 what?
Tenths.
5 1.
1. Grams.
5 grams.
Oh.
Okay.
5 Gs.